What is up, guys, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Thursday podcast, where each week we talk pro wrestling live on YouTube and TikTok. If you want to support the channel, hit us up with a YouTube super chat during the show to guarantee your voice is heard, or you can also join the Casual Wrestling Live membership for just $2.99 a month to help support our content creation. Housekeeping to start the show, we will be doing a live SummerSlam main event watch along and post show called the Roman Reigns Watch Celebration Party. We will be celebrating the return of the tribal chief, the return of the head of the table. He's guaranteed to show up. We know it. So me and Mike will be doing a live watch along just for the main event of SummerSlam, and then we will continue into a post show where we will recap everything we saw for the night and kind of break down with live reactions and commentary on the entire show. This is Thursday. We're going to do things a little different on Thursday shows. No wrestling recap, nothing like that. We're going to go ahead and do just a topic of the day. And today's topic that I want to hit on is I'm going to take the AEW roster and break it down to the top five and top women, or top five men and top five women's wrestlers that I would take if I was starting my own wrestling company in 2024. What is up, DJ Wavy D? So what we're doing here is we're going to go through. I've got the roster pulled up. Let me bring it up here. So we've got the roster on the left. All the men, all the women. We'll break it down. We'll start by doing men, and then if there's time, we'll do women. If not, we'll move that to next week. We can play by our own rules here. Don't want to go too long, but we're going to take the top five. Now, how we're going to do this is I'm going to start. I just want to run through the roster, and I'm going to make a possible list of names that I think are worthy of being in the Casual Wrestling Federation, the CWF, as I like to call it, the names that would make sense if I was starting a company in 2025 and I can only take five people from AEW. These are the five. Do tag teams count as one spot? Yes. We'll go tag teams count as one spot. Although, spoilers, probably not taking a tag team, to be honest. If I'm starting a company right off the bat and I've only got five spots, I may take a tag team though, because we may cheat the system here with a tag team. But right now I'm going to break it down, top five. Now, this is not just based on wrestling talent. There's going to be a certain amount of this is going to be the appeal of that wrestler. There's going to be a certain amount of this that is the nerdy D idea that this person's going to attract enough attention to get the other people noticed. I was going to do top 10, but I thought that was too easy. So I've shortened this down to top five men, top five women. So let's look at the roster right off the bat. Quick run through here. We can go through. As I'm looking at the first row, we've got Aaron Solo. Don't know who that is. There's going to be a lot of names that I've never heard of on this roster. Aaron Solo, that's a no. Action Andretti, that's a no. Adam Cole is somebody I'll consider for my roster. I'll put Adam Cole on there. We've got Adam Copeland. I'll consider him. Adam Page, nah. We're not doing. There's no Hangman in the Casual Wrestling Federation. Alex Reynolds, Angelico, Angelo Parker. Do we put the Acclaim? I guess this is just my possibilities. The Acclaim are going on the list because I see the potential in the Acclaim. I actually see there's a lot of potential in the Acclaim to be bigger than what AEW's made them. So we've got Anthony Go-Go, no. AR Fox, no. Let's keep rolling through here. Austin Gunn, the Gun Club. These two young bucks, I'm not putting them in there. Big Bill, no. Billy Gunn, no. Who's the next one going on the list here? So many people I do not recognize on this list. Bryan Danielson. We'll put Bryan Danielson on a possible list here. We got Bryan Danielson on a list of possibilities. Wavy D, what you got? You got MJF, FTR, Wardlow, the Gun Brothers, and Anthony Bowens. Interesting. Anthony Bowens is the Shawn Michaels of the... That's interesting. Okay. I don't know that from the limited time I've watched AEW that you think he's the star of the group? Anthony Bowens is the star. Okay, he's the Shawn Michaels of the group. Who else we got? We're going to put Chris Jericho on this short list here. Chris Jericho. Christian Cage will go on the list. What else we got? No Cesaro, no Colt Cabana. I'm not putting the guns on here. I don't have enough experience with them to know that they're going to draw in my company. No Daniel Garcia. I'm putting Darby Allin on the list. As little as he is, I'm putting Darby Allin on the list. Interesting. I'm going to have to watch more of the Acclaim then, because I always thought the other guy, I always thought Max Caster was the main appeal of that group. I never saw it, but maybe that's just me in the limited amount of time I've watched them. All right, we're putting Anthony Bowens on here then. If Wavy D feels that strong about him, we'll put him on the list and we'll talk about it. But we have the Acclaim on there. We have the Acclaim on there. We'll cheat and we'll take both if we need to. FTR. I have a hard time with FTR. I just think they're boring. I don't think FTR draw the way, if I only have 5 spots, I don't think they're selling tickets enough for me to put them on the list. Keep going. Not taking Jack Perry. There's absolutely no Jack Perry in the CWF. John Moxley gets a nod here. Moxley gets good. Name recognition alone is enough to put Moxley on the list. Omega, we'll put Omega on the list. Who else we got here? No. Mark Briscoe, no. Malachi Black, no. Man, a lot of people that I do not recognize here. Matt Taven, Matthew Jett, no Young Bucks. We've got a Claim on there. Miro's not making the list. MJF's on the list. Personality and character work-wise, you're right. FTR is kind of boring. Yeah, and I get they put other people over and they're extremely good in the ring. If I'm starting a company and I've got 5 spots, I don't think FTR, I don't think they're going to sell me enough tickets. They've been around long enough that I just don't, they're not moving the needle for me like that. I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. Orange Cassidy's going on the list for a casual wrestling. This is a casual wrestling federation. This is for the casual fans here. Let's keep going. No. Ricky Starks going on the list. So the short list is getting long already. Rush, no. Sammy Guevara, no. Samoa Joe, no. Sting's retired. We're not counting that. Swerve Strickland's on the list. We're almost to the end here. We got the Butcher, Wardlow. Wardlow's the last one on my list. Wait, no. Will Ospreay goes on the list. He made the list. So that's my short list here. This is my short list of names that I would consider for the CWF. Possible names here. Adam Cole, Adam Copeland, The Acclaim, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin, John Moxley, Kenny Omega, MJF, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland, Wardlow, and Will Ospreay. If I'm Tony Khan right now, those are the people that need to be on TV on a weekly basis. These are the recognizable names. This is a casual wrestling fan coming out and telling you these are the names that people will watch. Outside of that, there's not a lot of name recognition. Wavy D, what you got? Penta El Zero is a guy you need to watch a couple of matches of. Great Ricochet replacement. He can wrestle flyers and big guys. I like that. With 5 spots, with my 5 spots, I don't know that Penta is selling tickets. I don't know if I put him on that headline if fans are showing up. So because we've got to fill 5 spots here. We've got 5 slots to fill to get to where we're going. So let's go Adam Cole. Let's talk about Adam Cole. Adam Cole has name recognition, but he's a guy, he's hurt all the time. He's a smaller guy. You know how I feel about smaller guys. Y'all know how I feel about size in professional wrestling. You don't put him on a poster and people are intimidated. He doesn't have that look. I do think he does bring the IWC element. They'll come to watch him a little bit. I do think that once you're established, a guy like Adam Cole is great to have on the roster. I just don't think early on, year one, starting my company, the CWF, I'm not picking Adam Cole. Good name recognition, just not the look and not the size that I'm looking for. So then we go Adam Copeland. This is Edge. This is our guy Edge. Adam Copeland is a guy, he's 50 years old. That's old. That's an old man to start the company. Now, we get the name recognition. You put Edge on the poster, people are showing up. We've seen this. For the first new event on my new wrestling company, people will show up to see what I'm doing if Edge is on the poster. He could sort of be my Chris Jericho to what Chris Jericho was to AEW. He could be that big feature name that you have on your roster that people just kind of turn and go, oh, they got that guy. They got that guy. Of your list, MJF, Wardlow, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, and Will Ospreay are your picks. All right. We'll see where I get to. I don't think that's going to be my final list. Adam Copeland is just too old. If I'm starting to come, I don't think I can rely on him. I don't know that I can rely on him long term. So then we go to the Acclaim. And DJ Wavy D just told me that Anthony Bowen is the Shawn Michaels of the Acclaim. I'm a fan of Max Caster. So this gives me some hope. If we're getting both sides here we're getting interest on both sides. We got Wavy D as a fan of Anthony Bowen. We have me a fan of Max Caster. Then maybe this is a group. Maybe if I'm putting a tag team on the list and I'm putting them number one here, just to start, they can get bumped. But the Acclaim are on my list. I can book them against a lot of tag teams. They're young enough. They rap. We got the rap element. We've definitely got the Anthony Bowen element of what Wavy D is calling the Shawn Michaels of that group. So I'm in. Let's put the Acclaim on the list. Let's lock down a spot with the Acclaim. Then let's talk about Bryan Danielson. He's set to retire within the next year. If you could get one good match out of Bryan Danielson, if you could get one headline main event style match out of Bryan Danielson, inaugural champion of the CWF, do you give him a spot? Do you give him one spot? That's true. Wavy D just said that the Acclaim sell merch. That is hard to pass up. It's hard to pass up a team that can sell merch. And so I think the Acclaim may be, the more Wavy D talks to me here, the more I think I'm locking in the Acclaim as the number one spot on my new roster. But let's talk about Bryan Danielson. Do you pay him for the one-off appearance? Do you pay him for that one-time shot, that one opportunity to see him wrestle a dream match? We could pick anybody else on our roster here. One good match, and it's a farewell match. It's a goodbye match. It's a retirement match. Is he worth that? I don't think so. I don't think you can risk one of your 5 spots on a guy who's going to be there maybe 6 months. So Bryan Danielson off the list. Chris Jericho. This is interesting. Because I know I've been rough on Chris Jericho, but there's a part of me that said Chris Jericho, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, with his ability to adapt and change even in old age. There's just something to be said about a guy with that much knowledge, that much wisdom, that much experience in the business that I believe could be an asset to the company. Now, does he feel the need to feature himself quite a bit? Sure, but that's kind of been the AEW rhetoric and kind of the history of the company. But I just, there's a part of me that goes, you need that one veteran. You need that KG veteran who can control the locker room. Now, he hadn't done a very good job of it in AEW. I don't know that anybody could really control AEW with the leadership. I'll be a stronger leader than Tony Khan. And I think with Jericho as my number 2, I think that I could hold down the fort. So I'm putting Jericho on the list. I know that's going to be unpopular. But I just think Jericho brings a wealth of knowledge. I think he brings experience. I think he can recreate himself a couple more times. He brings in the Fozzy fan base. It's instant credibility. You have Chris Jericho on the roster. People are going to take you serious. That is my thinking. Jericho is a ratings killer. I don't necessarily believe that. I think Jericho is now getting the Cody Rhodes treatment of AEW. I think that the IWC is just tired of Chris Jericho. I think that in the right situation, with the right people around him and the right set of lights on Jericho, I think we could rebuild. We could rebuild the career of Jericho. So I'm not banking on him being a ratings killer. I think, for me, if I put him on the poster, people are going to pay attention. That's what I'm looking for from Chris Jericho. I'm looking for you to be a veteran in the locker room. I'm looking for you to mentor some of these younger guys. I'm looking for you to step up early and just hopefully gain enough attention quickly. And then you can go. And then we'll replace you. By taking Jericho, I think that eliminates Christian Cage for me, because I think it was either Jericho or Christian Cage for that veteran spot. So now we go Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, MJF, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland, Wardlow, and Will Ospreay. We have 3 spots left, and we've got 6, 7, 8, 9 names. So we have to fill 3 spots with 9 names. I immediately look at this list and go, as much shit as I talk about Will Ospreay, could I bring Will Ospreay into the right situation and make a star out of him? I think so. I think I could. But could I do the same with Darby Allin? Could I do the same with maybe a Ricky Starks? Could I do the same? This is where it gets dicey. This is where the IWC will be upset. Will Ospreay's not on my roster. Will Ospreay's not making my top 5 that I'm pulling out of AEW. Tell me why I just went to Twitter and saw Hulk Hogan rip off his shirt before I left my house, Wavy D. I saw Hulk Hogan at the Republican National Convention and just thought, all right, that's where we are. That's where we are in politics. That Hulk Hogan, I didn't see him rip off his shirt, but Hulk Hogan was doing the Republican National Convention. Okay, so we didn't fill a spot, but we definitely eliminated Will Ospreay from the running here. I'm not taking Jon Moxley or Kenny Omega. I think those are AEW guys. I think they live in the AEW world. I think that those guys are not going to fit into my casual system. So we'll let them stay where they are. I kind of feel that way about Darby Allin as well. So I'm dropping Darby Allin. Leaves me with five names to fill 3 spots. Guaranteed on the list here at the 3rd spot is MJF. We don't have to talk about that. MJF's the franchise guy. I'm building the entire company around the idea of MJF. I'm going to give him everything he needs, and I'm going to build the company around MJF. I know a lot of people say he's not that guy. I have faith that MJF is that guy. I'm whatever the contract needs to be, whatever I've got to do. He is my feature star of the Casual Wrestling Federation. It is 100% MJF. So now we've got Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland, and Wardlow to fill 2 spots. There's a lot to like about Orange Cassidy. There is a lot to like about Orange Cassidy, but in this world I'm living in this Casual Wrestling Federation, he's not a top 5. A top 10, if I'm making a 10 list, there's no doubt that Orange Cassidy is on that list. But with a top 5 list, I can't put him over 2 other names I see on here. So I'm dropping Orange Cassidy. And now I have my big situation here. Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland, and Wardlow. I don't see a world where Wardlow doesn't make my top 5. I just can't imagine not taking the raw, untapped potential of a guy like Wardlow and putting him on my top 5 list, my top 5 guys to start a company. So Wardlow's going on. Wardlow's going on. So that leaves me for my final spot here with Ricky Starks or Swerve Strickland. 2 guys that I think are packed full of potential. 2 guys that I think give off the same aura, right? Superstars, future superstars. These guys, when booked correctly, can be top level stars. Now, Ricky Starks, once again, is just a little bit undersized for me. He's just a little smaller than I would like one of my 5 pillars of my company to be. Whereas Swerve Strickland has proven he can hang in there with pretty much anybody. He's doing a very good job as AEW champion from what I'm seeing. Now that I don't know how the IWC feels, but from a casual wrestling fan, Swerve has everything that you need to be a big time champion. So to round out my roster here, I got to go Swerve Strickland. That's my 5. I'm comfortable with that 5. I'm starting a wrestling company tomorrow. The Casual Wrestling Federation. I'm starting it tomorrow. I'm taking the Acclaim because I get a 2-for-1 there. I get Anthony Bowen and I get Max Caster. I get merchandise. I get the scissoring, everything that comes along with it. I'm locked in. I'm locked in with that answer. Number 2, I'm taking Chris Jericho. This is the one that's going to get pushback. I get it. It's dicey. But I need the veteran. I need the guy who can control the locker room. I need the guy who can be creative. I need the guy I've seen recreate himself so many times and keep rising up. That no matter what, the longevity of Chris Jericho cannot be talked about. Like, it cannot be talked about enough. The longevity of Chris Jericho and his ability to recreate himself and do things that people pay attention to. Then you have MJF. No-brainer. No-brainer. MJF he's the guy. He's the franchise player. He is who we're hitching the wagon to, and we're riding it to the top of the ratings on MJF's back. We have Wardlow for size, raw potential. He is that WWE build. He is, if booked correctly, he can be my monster. So I like that. And then I have Swerve Strickland. He's just everything. Swiss knife, right? He can do a little bit of everything. He is the counter to the MJF. Swerve can be my babyface. MJF can be my heel. And I can ride this group all the way to the top. So that's your top 5 men. So now we got to talk about women. Women's a little different. There's not as much to choose from, and I don't have as much knowledge about the AEW women's roster. So I know right off the bat, Britt Baker goes on the short list. I know that, let's see, Chris Statlander's on the short list. What else we got here? Mercedes Moné's on the short list. Who else we got here? Some of these people don't even recognize here. Soraya's on my short list. Serena Deeb is on my short list. Tay Mello on the list. Thunder Rosa on the list. Tony Storm on the list. Willow Nightingale on the list. Okay, so We Too Deep is a big advocate for Deonna Purrazzo. I just don't know enough. The problem is my casual knowledge doesn't know enough about some of these names. They're not recognizable to me. I've heard the name. You can't click on anything on AEW. I hate that. No more information. It's bad. Bad, Tony Khan. Bad website. I can't get more information on somebody by clicking on them. Just take all the ex-WWE girls plus Britt. That's cheating, Lauren. We're not doing that. Oh, okay. So we got a short list of women here. Short list of women. Let me double check here. Anna J. No. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Chris Statlander, Kiera Hogan, Julia Hart, Madison Rain, Mariah May, Marina Shafir, Mercedes Martinez, Rebel, Queen Amanita, Penelope Ford, Nyla Rose, Mother Wayne, Red Velvet, Riho, Ruby Soho, Saraya, Serena Deeb, Tony Storm, Thunder Rosa, Taya Valkyrie, Tay Mello, Sky Blue. Let's put Sky Blue on the list. Let's put Sky Blue on the list. And then we'll roll. We'll roll from there. All right. Short list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names. 10 names to get to 5 for the list that I'm taking to start my new wrestling company. Number 1, without a doubt, we don't have to question it. Britt Baker's on the list. She's my franchise player. I'm starting a wrestling company tomorrow. I could start with just Britt Baker. Just Britt Baker and MJF. If I can have those two, I think I'm good. I'm completely fine. After that, I can fill out my women's roster. It is a travesty to me that AEW has Britt Baker and have not been able to elevate her to a higher level. I understand everything she's been through. I understand all the stuff that's kept her out of the ring. But even in the time she was there, I feel like they've mismanaged a lot of Britt Baker. DJ Wavie's least personal list would be Britt Baker, Willow, Tony Storm, Chris Statlander, and Thunder Rosa. That could be where I end up. I'm not done looking here, but that could be where I end up. Now, I'm going to tell you one name. I think it's more of a headache than it is Mercedes Moné. For everything I say about her, for all the whining and crying and complaining that she does, and she feels like she's a headache, I still feel like having Mercedes on the Moné on your roster early on, she's just a fan favorite. She's another name that if you put her on the poster, people pay attention. Oh, what's the CWF? Oh, they have Mercedes Moné? Okay. All right, we'll pay attention. Mercedes Moné, we'll pay attention. So then that kind of takes care of the top of my card. Now I can get tricky. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names to fill 3 spots. Now, Wavy D, you said you were going Britt Baker, Willow, Tony Storm, Chris Statlander, Thunder Rosa. But Thunder Rosa is 37. That scares me in a women's division. That scares me. What women have we seen besides Trish Stratus legitimately draw above the age of 40? Correct me if I'm wrong. Just tell me who it is, and then I'll have the conversation. I just don't know. For that reason, Thunder Rosa's off my list. Call me ageist. I don't care. So now we got Chris Statlander. Very interesting still. Saraya. Saraya's another big name. Saraya, I think, could go. I think Saraya could go. I think if nothing else, she can manage. She could be a general manager. She could be just a TV personality. I don't know what her status is with being able to wrestle, but the name value alone of Saraya, I think, is mismanaged within AEW. I'm putting Saraya on my list. Saraya at 3. So we got Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné, and Saraya. DJ Wavy D, I know Becky Lynch is also 37, but I mean, does it not feel like that Becky Lynch is 1 foot out the door? That Becky Lynch is winding down? And so if I'm starting a new company, is it worth taking a Thunder Rosa who is not over on the same level as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair? Is it worth taking that at 37 years old and building a new company around that? No disrespect to Thunder Rosa. I just don't know that that's the name I take to start the new company. So I got Britt Baker, I got Mercedes Moné, and I've got Saraya. Those 3 names on the poster are going to get people to turn around. They're going to pay attention. Don't talk about Bianca like that, DJ Wavy D. Bianca is ageless. Bianca Belair has no age. She's an athletic specimen. I will not accept Bianca Belair slander in the chat today. Just not happening. So Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné, and Saraya. Now we got to start filling out the younger side of the roster. We've got to fill out the younger side of the roster here. Chris Statlander. Oh, we got to take Saraya off the list. I think Serena Deeb is off the list now just because I filled that veteran spot. So we go Chris Statlander, Tay Mello, Toni Storm, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. Yeah, Lauren, don't instigate. Don't instigate, Lauren. You guys, the bullying. I'll shut the chat down. I will ban everybody. I will shut the chat down if y'all keep the Bianca Belair slander up. Asuka is 43. That is true. But Asuka defies all logic. Asuka, you talk about aging backwards. Asuka definitely ages backwards. She defies all logic. She doesn't look 43. She doesn't wrestle 43. Nothing about Asuka says she's a 43-year-old woman. Someone needs to check Asuka's birth certificate to even see if that's a real thing. I don't know that I believe it. All right, let's go. 5 names to fill 2 spots. Chris Statlander, Tay Mello, Toni Storm, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue. How do you not put Toni Storm on the list? With what she's done in the last 300 days, how do you not, from leaving WWE, completely recreating herself, creating this iconic character who, dare I say, is going to be remembered as one of the greatest characters in professional wrestling history. I think when you start talking best gimmicks of all time, I think it would be disrespectful to not talk about what Toni Storm has done with her latest gimmick. The black and white, the Marilyn Monroe, the way she's played into the character. I do think it is disrespectful to not talk about Toni Storm in that way and to put her in the best gimmick conversation. I'm going to put Toni Storm on the list. So that leaves me one spot. It leaves me one spot, and it leaves me really, when I look at the top 4, I think I'm covered. I'm covered with Britt Baker's, Mercedes Moné, Saraya, and Toni Storm. That, if you're rocking that as your top 4 in your women's division, this is what makes me mad about AEW in general. That is a solid top 4. That is a solid top 4 of the women. What are you doing, Tony Khan, that you can't make it work with those 4 names? I can make it work with those 4 names. So, all right, Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné, Saraya, Toni Storm. Now we're pulling from Chris Statlander, Tay Mello, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. Now we know why most people like Sky Blue. I don't think that's enough to make my roster. You're not making my roster, Sky Blue. Tay Mello comes with the Sammy Guevara baggage. You're not making my roster, Tay Mello. So now we're down to a legitimate question of Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale. Who do you choose? Who do you choose out of Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale? Sky Blue is the HBK kind of recruit, if you know what I'm saying. That is true. That is true. This is a coin flip for me. I can go either way. I'm a big fan of Willow Nightingale. I think there's a ton of potential with Willow. So I'm going to fill spot number 5 here with Willow Nightingale. I think that's the right decision. I don't need an alien on my roster. So if I'm starting the CWF, guys, tomorrow, the 10 people from AEW that I'm taking, if I have open, I'm allowed to grab in the bag and take whoever I want. The Acclaim, I'm there. I'm solid there. Chris Jericho, that's my veteran. MJF, that's my franchise. Wardlow, that's my monster. Swerve Strickland's my everything. He can do it all. He can get it all done. Swiss Army knife. I don't need Will Ospreay. I've got Swerve Strickland. I don't need the Young Bucks. I've got Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland is casual friendly. He is the casual friendly version of what the IWC loves. Then on the women's side, we have Britt Baker, we have Mercedes Moné, we have Saraya, we have Toni Storm, and we have Willow Nightingale. I'm solid there. I'm solid with those 10. Now maybe next week we'll fill in and we'll go 5 and 5 from WWE to add to the list. We'll add 5 and 5 from WWE. The top 5 men and top 5 women I would take from WWE to start a wrestling company, add them to this list, and we'll have the official roster of the CWF. But that's it. That's all I've got tonight, guys. 39 minutes. We broke it down. We gave you the top 5 men and top 5 women of the AEW right now. If you would please like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments your top 5 men and top 5 women that you would take from AEW to start your own wrestling company. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. Tomorrow is Friday. We will be doing a Friday night SmackDown post show. Level Up Lauren will be here. We will be doing another bracket battle, and we'll be doing all kinds of cool stuff. 9:05 p.m. Central. Be there, hang out, let's have fun. But like I said, as always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk more wrestling with you guys tomorrow.